y'all peep what you said. Gang goofy, I cannot do that. It don't move me, y'all doing bad. And keep losing, still off in the bad. I kill loose leaf, I've been on my way. Yeah, slide. All y'all acting fake, get the fuck up out my face. I've been on my way. Slide. All y'all acting fake, don't care what you got to say. Stop hopping on the wave. Slide. All y'all acting fake, don't care what y'all got to say. I've been on my way. Slide. All y'all acting fake, get the fuck up out my face. I've been on my way, but I'm whipping my old school with no GPS. Spirit is guiding me, leading the quest. I thought I might fail, I'm apparently blessed. Experience strategy under my stress. Had to play ball, no time to stretch. Thought on like Johnny, I left on my quest. Handle my business and that be the best. I've been on my way, yeah. If I pass your own boat, so you know it's the store. This shit exquisite, I give and I go.
What up? Guan. It's episode 5 of Where the Rubber Meets the Road, where the rubber and the road meets. I still haven't decided on the title, but there you go. Anyone that's been rocking with me thus far, thank you. Episodes have been dropping like every 5 days, it seems. I might keep that frequency up. Or I might get above that once I start moving around a little bit more now that I'm unquarantined and like able to start like making appointments with some of the homies. I got like 3 or 4 people lined up to come and be on the show with me. So it's like really dope. I'm really excited for that. Like I said, it's episode 5. This is my New Year's episode, so Happy New Year and all that shit. Welcome to 2021. Try and leave a lot of the BS from 2020 behind you. Anything that you can like find to help motivate you and move you forward, do that. I'm a big learn incessantly guy. I try to learn as much as possible. If I learn something new every day, then I'm always progressing, learning, growing. Something that's growing is living. If you're not growing, you're dying. All that. So I try to live every day to the fullest to a certain extent. Or at least learn something new every day. Yeah, I guess I'm R.I.P. MF Doom. If you don't know who MF Doom is, he's a hip hop artist. He's got a whole bunch of classic, what people would consider underground hip hop albums. He's just a dope ass dude. Like a lot of the artists that I respect, fuck with him. Mos Def has like done a series, or AKA Yasin Bey has like done a whole series where he redoes a whole bunch of MF Doom songs just because of how much he respects Doom and how dope Doom is. But yeah, it's wild. Like they announced it at the end of the year, but I guess it turns out he died on Halloween actually, which is like the most Doom way to go. This nigga wore a mask his whole career. No one knew who he was or what his face looked like. Would like infamously have other people wear the mask in videos type shit. Like, is this him? Like no one cared who I was till I put the mask on. He's just a quirky, like different type of hip hop artist. It's not like everyone else. He definitely created his own vein and lane. The way he rhymes is so just starkly different than everyone else and the way they put bars together. I love it when he like leaves out bars because your mind's gonna rhyme the word that's supposed to be there, and then he says something completely different. That shit's dope. I gotta find a song. I've written a whole song in like Doom style because that's the type of shit us creatives do when we get bored. And some shit you just can't recreate, and that's why I never put the song out. But I did. I attempted. But yeah, MF motherfucking Doom. If you haven't checked out his music, go check it out. I'm sure you can find it everywhere. I've had it forever, so I've got it on my computer, but I'm sure that shit's streaming. So there you go. I guess go stream his shit, get the sales up on his shit. He used to put out beat projects, And I gotta find some of these bars. Yeah, I used to put out beat projects. I got old freestyles to some Doom beats. And that shit was dope. But yeah, rest in peace to MF Doom. A real one. A real, like, staple of hip hop for me, I guess. And I'll probably say that a lot, but I've been influenced by so many artists that it's not even funny. Whether if I just took like 3 weeks vibing to your whole album, like over and over again, or I heard your shit and was like, oh, I gotta get this nigga's whole catalog. That's what happened with Doom. I don't remember where I was or who was like, oh, one of my homies came back from college, I guess, is one of the first times that he was like, yo, you haven't heard of MF Doom, you need to go, like, check this dude out. Or if you have heard of him, whatever, go check this dude out. I didn't know who Doom was at the time, so I went and checked him out. I remember the Food album, which was crazy. I loved the old, like, comic book clips throughout his songs and shit, like the way the shit's edited into his album, to where it's just like fun, like mixtape type shit is the way it felt to me. I guess if anyone's like heard any of my music and you noticed on some of them, I've just got clips going through my shit, hearing MF Doom early. I guess the way like Cash Money used to do their skits. But then specifically like MF Doom and Jay Electronica are like what made me want to take like speeches and clips from like movies and speeches from people talking and mix it into a song. So like that's why a lot of my songs have that aesthetic. And then one of my homies had me do it for him, and the time I did it for him, it just came out perfect, and we just picked a random speech and it was on a beat and they just happened to sound good, and I was like, yo, does this happen like all the time? Is it just accidental that you can put a speech on a song and it just sounds like it belongs there? I think I've had a few that clash, but most of the time like it just it works. I've put many of speeches on songs. But yeah, that's MF Doom. I guess I'm gonna do another word spotlight, and this word will be bias. Not that the word is bias, but the word literally is bias. So, bias is a prejudice in favor of or against one thing, person, or group compared with another, usually in a way considered to be unfair. There was evidence of bias against foreign applicants. So bias means that you're prejudiced against one thing, person, or group compared with another group, usually in a way considered to be unfair. So that means that it doesn't have to be, but usually when someone is biased, they're being unfair because of what they believe or where they're like whatever they have their alignments to. So say if you're from like two different places and y'all both have football teams, y'all will be biased. You could be biased on which team is better. Like I've heard people say that my team from where I'm from, Kansas City, is the best team every year, and that we're going to the Super Bowl every year of my life. So 32 years they have said this. And 1 year it came true. So I'm just saying, the bias is that they're the best team in the NFL every year because that's what people from here believe. I mean, that's what diehard fans do, though. I mean, you support your team, you rock with them. But I guess when I would be talking to people, I never had that type of bias because people would be mad at me because I'd be like, yo, but these dudes over here are killing it. Like, I remember being a kid and just watching, like, the way the Cowboys played. Like, even if you didn't become a Cowboys fan, they were just killing it. It was hard not to like them. I liked the Steelers defense throughout my life. I've liked the Ravens defense throughout my life. Although people like to pick a team, and that's cool, especially if it's like where you're from. I get that. I don't see how people don't. understand or recognize like the just pure talent that's out in the league. Otherwise, it's like, well, how would you ever be like, oh, we should get that guy? Because I'm like, yo, we should have got that guy. We should have drafted him. Now I'm watching him kill it on other teams, and I'm so mad we didn't draft him. I remember when the Miami Hurricanes were like the coldest college team for years, and they were just putting out all this product, and the Chiefs didn't go after none of these dudes. It was wild, but I followed those people into their careers. Like Edgerrin James landed at the Colts, or not landed. The Colts got Edgerrin James because they wanted him. You know what I'm saying? The Colts got Reggie Wayne because they wanted him. Both of them came from the Miami team that I was watching kill it in college. So it was like the more I watched college as I was playing football myself. So I'm like watching college football and I'm watching the NFL and I'm watching teams draft people. I ended up moving because of like front office decisions. Like for a while the Chiefs were killing it with our draft picks. We had an amazing offensive line. Always drafted like random horrible skill positions. Like quarterbacks. Oh man, let me think of some of the bad calls we've made. Let's see. Tyler Thigpen, Brody Croyle, I'm gonna go off quarterbacks, but Greg Hill. Oh man, someone's gonna get mad at me. I'm gonna get like death threats for bringing up like Greg Hill. That shit's just wild. Or like getting rid of Rich Gannon, keeping Elvis Gerback, and then Rich Gannon going off to go to the Super Bowl. And he probably would have went to the Super Bowl 2 times, and he would have won the first time if the league didn't cheat him and then have to invent the tuck rule or whatever you want to call it, however you want to say the situation happened. Some bullshit happened in that game, calls that were so blatantly disgusting that after the game the NFL said, damn, we're going to put in instant replay and invent something called the tuck rule to where, no, you fumbled that shit. They're not going to just say whatever. Nah, G, you fumbled that shit. Oh, man. That was disgusting. Anyways, I don't even know how I got... Oh, because of bias. That's funny, because I went straight to football. Oh, man, that's funny as a mug. All right, but yeah, so... Man, we'll come back to all that on another time, though. But, I mean, recently, you can't hate. Recently, the Chiefs have been fucking killing it, so that's Redemption City there. They're a good team to watch. That shit's fucking beautiful. Front office makes or breaks franchises in the way of drafting horrible personnel. You put the right people in the right spaces, then you could be amazing. I had horrible football coaches in high school up until my senior year. My senior year, I finally had like a good head coach. But yeah. Yeah, like my football team in 8th grade, we had a coach. I don't know where he came from, but this dude, his football philosophy was, I make power scores off of what people do in the weight room, and then that starts my projected chart for who's starting. And basically, the more work you do in the weight room can outshine your performance on the football field, and that is exactly what happened. I lived with my dad every summer because my parents were divorced. So during the summer, I was at my dad's house all summer. And then I came back to my mom's house and went to the first football practice for me, but I didn't go to summer weightlifting. So I was at the very bottom of the like projection chart for like fullbacks on my team and middle linebackers. So this dude, the dude they had over me had like never really played football before, and he was just mad soft. So they kept trying to start him over me, And in our practices, our whole team was based like that. So they had this projection chart of how they had people. So they had people in these positions. And then in practice, our B team, which was all the kids that like played football throughout their life, it seemed, would crush our A team. So the backups are killing the starters. In every facet of the game, to where the starting coaches have to come out and berate their starters. At one point, pulled their starters out and had me play lineman because I blocked so well as a fullback, and they were like, why can't y'all block? But I used to play center in like 5th grade. So I've played so many football positions that I can do what I gotta do. Plus, I played fullback growing up, and I was a blocking fullback in that. We ran lead. So if I wasn't getting the ball, I was clearing the hole. And that's what I did. With pleasure. Like, meeting linebackers was my thing. Like, you're like Tony Richardson, Mike Allstott. I'm like, yeah, that's what I do. But I run too. So, like, I loved that. And the funniest thing was, the guy they had starting over me would play fullback on starting offense. I'm playing middle linebacker on starting defense. So me and him met in A gap or B gap or C gap all the time. And he never won. I got the tackles for no gain, and their coaches were so upset every practice. But this happened throughout the whole season, and never once did they start me over him. What they ended up doing was pulling me from B team. After watching my performance, they pulled me from B team and put me on A team behind him, and never started me, but put him in for the first series and then put me in for the rest of the game, and specifically on all blocking downs. And even with this happening, the few times they called my number to run, I had put up more numbers than this dude. Rushing all season. On like a fourth of the touches. I would run the ball down the field, and they would take me out once we got to the red zone. And then sometimes we wouldn't even score after that. Now, like, even our quarterback, who was my friend, one of my best friends at the time, they had him starting because he was really smart and could learn the playbook and had a stupid dumb arm and was there for the whole summer to put in the work. But he had zero accuracy, no football experience. He had actually played soccer his whole life, and this was his first season attempting football. So, no. And the guy they didn't start was my... That's funny. This is not biased, even though this sounds biased. Was a quarterback that had played football for 7 years. This would have been his this would have been his 8th year in football, because we were in 8th grade. So, this dude's 8th year playing quarterback is who they did not start. And he actually was my quarterback when I was 5. So I'm like, I remember this dude. He was my quarterback for 2 years straight, 1st and 2nd grade. And he just played football like a quarterback. Like, even when you're doing like your drills, they'll have 2 quarterbacks out there and 2 centers out there and 2 receivers. One quarterback's throwing left, the other quarterback's throwing right. And they hike the ball and they drop back. And one looks like he's played for 8 years, and one looks like he kicked soccer balls all of his life and just picked up a football. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just wasn't a quarterback. Maybe they could have built him into one in 4 years, and maybe by our senior year, he would have been all right or whatever. But you don't just become quarterback not knowing football. You're not the captain of the offense and driving this whole bus when you've never been through any of these things. What is this dude gonna do? Like, And dude was my homie. I was better friends with him than the quarterback that I had known longer because we went to like different elementary schools. I just knew him because of the teams we played on when we were like younger. So, well, actually, I guess we went to the same elementary school in first and second grade, and then I moved schools. Yeah, so after that, I moved to the other side of town and we didn't play football together anymore. But to see him years later, still playing quarterback and killing it, I was just like, oh, well, I already know who the team's going to be. I'm not even worried about the projection chart. And people kept being like, nah, man, the projection chart's going to be real. I was like, dude, there is no way they're watching all of us play. And we had a better defensive end on B team. We had a better outside linebacker on B team. But the coach wanted to reward all the kids that had been there through the summer. And I guess that makes sense because they put in work through the summer, but that did not make them a better football player, nor did y'all come up to everyone in 7th grade and say, hey, if you want to play football, you need to be here all summer to even have a chance to play. So, if so facto, our team ran this dumb thing. The A team was always getting crushed by the B team. So, many positions had better people on the B team, specifically the quarterback, the fullback, both linebackers, and yeah, like even our backup linebacker was so much better than the other dude. He would at least come there and feel the hole. Like I've never seen linebackers get ran over so many times in my life than our starting linebackers. And my coach literally told me I should quit trying to run them over once and that I should try and run past them. And I was like, I don't even know what that means, but they should not be getting trucked like this in the hole. They're a non-factor every time. Like, I'm not the best fullback in the world, so we are going to play people better than me. Even if you're leaving me on B team so that I can toughen up some of these other people, come game time, I need to be on A team. And so eventually they did that. But, like, it was the dumbest stuff in the world. Oh, I couldn't stand it. For a while, I would play a little bit of A team, and then they would let me play B team, and the B team was winning, and our A team was losing. Our A team went 1-8, and our B team, I don't know, they won more than that. And then they sabotaged us. After our B team won like the first 2 games or something like that, they sabotaged us. They took my homie that was the best quarterback and made him the A team backup and wouldn't let him play B team anymore. So then these 2 scrubs on B team got to play, and they were the worst quarterbacks in history. They sucked. And I was like, nah, you should let the dude that has played football forever play both sides if you're going to make him play A team a little bit and not let him play B team at all. It was atrocious. It was disgusting. I'm not saying their names because they might not want me to say their names. But, man, they did that dude wrong. He was way better than my homie. Like, I had played basketball with the other dude for 4 years. Like, we were on the championship basketball teams. He was my homie. I was with him in the trenches, but I'm all about. When I'm playing team sports, it's about the team, and the best players need to play. Period. Unless they're just a-holes. Like, I had another friend on the team who was one of the best linebackers on the team and one of the best tacklers on the team. But he hated how dumb our coaches were. So he just picked fights with the coaches all day, and they ruined his football career. Yeah. Ruined his football career. I forgot all about him. Yeah, he was one of the best tacklers on the team. Should have been starting defense the whole time. They put him at running back because they had him running all the time. Because they would literally just tell him to take off and run around the field the whole practice. Man, I don't know what them coaches were doing. They were dead ass horrible. All right, but anyways, speaking of horrible coaches, F all that. Let's talk about a great coach, Greg Popovich, from like the NBA, from the Spurs. Greg Popovich is one of my like favorite coach figures of like all time. Like Greg Popovich just comes out and says, "What's up?" And he's like, not disrespectful. He's just a very stand up dude. Like I got a lot of respect for that dude over the years. Like just listening to him talk. Um, Dang, this dude's 71 years old. Head coach since 1996 for the San Antonio Spurs. Yeah, shout out to Pop. I just wanted to do like a brief thing to say that. Born January 28th. Oh, he's got a birthday coming up. He's the head coach and the president of the San Antonio Spurs. And the head coach of the USA national basketball team. Yeah. Popovich. He's very outspoken when like random things pop up, or best specifically things that affect his players and race, or just like the molding of like men in general. He usually gives great insight and information when he's talking and explaining what's going on. So shout out to Greg Popovich. Yo, rest in peace to everybody that passed in 2020. It was a crazy year. We lost a lot of celebrities. Everybody lost a lot of family members. Some like 200,000 people died of COVID. Well, not 300,000 people died of COVID in 2020. Just in America. That's crazy as fuck. 1/4 of all the cases of COVID-19 came from the United States, which is crazy. Like, I don't know at this point what people believe or what sort of like biases allow people to not believe certain things. But like at this point, we're so many months in, all we've seen is devastation. I don't want anyone's bias to leave them looking ignorant or to leave them feeling horrible once like the effects of what is this a reality come upon them. My fiance still has adverse effects to moving too much and going up the stairs too fast since she had COVID. Update on that, no one else in the house caught it ever. We've all been fine, but that means that she's the only one with antibodies to not like catch it again. So anyone else in the house can catch it. So those are just things to worry about. Like my son didn't do the best in school this last semester because he's not at school, and he said he would rather be at school. So I'm like, well, do I send you back up there where cases have been popping up and they gotta quarantine certain things, and then after they were quarantining too many kids, they decide that they're not gonna quarantine as many kids? Like, is that what I do? I err on the side of keeping them safe, so that's what I do, and I'm not sending them to school as yet. But something definitely has to give, and if we have to get on top of his schoolwork and lack thereof. I know that there's like, I was trying to think about all the possible reasons why he might not be doing well, but also not make excuses, because like my son chose to play a whole bunch of video games, and so I'd be like, hey, what's going on, what do you got to do, you got this, that, and the third. This is my oldest, he's 12. So he's been in school for a while, and a lot of the stuff they have him doing is not much different than what they would have been doing at school. It's just that they're doing it without their teacher over their shoulder, but they're supposed to be in a Zoom call with their teacher. So this dude like lied about his Zoom times for the longest time, and then I got a schedule, like put it up on the wall, so then I would come up there and be like, yo, make sure you're in your meeting at this time, blah blah blah, woo. And so he was making an effort to lie and say that he was in the Zoom call, and then start all of his okay, and then start all of his sorry. He would enter his Zoom calls, but then just not do everything that he was supposed to be doing. Which is a problem for me because when I was a kid, my parents raised me with accountability. So it was like, all right, you go to school, this is your job, you do your schoolwork, and then you keep your room clean here at the house, and vacuum the floor, take out the trash, and cut the grass. But like those were like my jobs. Those were the things I was to handle. It's like, yo, you got eyes. When you see stuff doesn't look right, you do it. And then I guess when I was a little older, doing the dishes was a part of my chores as well. But yeah, so it's like these are the things you're supposed to do. I go do what I gotta do. So you should have the integrity to do what you're supposed to do when no one's looking. My son basically just shirked all that. I don't know what made him do it. Like sometimes when you try to talk, kids will give you the answers that they think you want to hear. So like me and him still have like more conversation to have on this. But I'm just like, yo, like what are you doing? Why do you do this? What's going on? And I have to like really sit back, think, and evaluate like what all I'm going to let him do. Because he gets mad that I don't let him just run through the internet like some of his peers do. But I'm like, I don't want you on TikTok for 38 hours or any of these things. I don't want you just fading into this when y'all never really run around outside anymore. I don't see children just running around outside. And maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe they're interacting on the internet. I don't know exactly what their whole like existence is or like what the nuance is of that into their life and who they are because I'm not them. Like I guess I'm trying to balance not being too controlling of like his like existence and what he's trying to do. So I'm like, all right. I mean, when I was playing video games, my parents were like, "Oh, what? Y'all are playing way too many video games." But at the same time, I had all of my stuff handled. So and that's pretty much what I told him. I'm like, as long as you can keep all of your grades and do all your schoolwork like you're supposed to, I don't really care how much screen time you have per se, because you can't have too much screen time if you're doing all these things that you're supposed to be doing, plus he plays sports. So he's not just going to be able to sit around and have idle hands. 2020, the Rona hit, his basketball season ended. Like we didn't get to play the last two games. Like we had other tournaments we were going to play in. He had a couple basketball camps he was lined up to go to, and then the season was going to start back up in the summer because he was going to start playing year round. And all of that ended with the Rona, and he hasn't been out to play basketball at a place for real since. So maybe that's probably playing some part into it, like having cabin fever, just sitting in the house. In 2 months, we will have been in the house for damn near a year. Like that's wild. Like I think he went to Florida. Did I let him go to Florida once? Yeah, they drove to Florida with my mom one time over the last year to see my sister down there. And this was before the Rona was like going completely crazy. The numbers were still slightly mild, I think. Sorry, I got a text message. Um, guess I could edit that out, but I doubt I do. RMR's Rascal song was one of my favorite songs last year, I think. I used to sing that like all the time. And every step I take leads me to where I am. And that broke my heart. They became hoes that scam. Tell me a better way. Anyway. One thing I know, it's true. And the boys in blue, 12, 12. Yeah, that's my shit. Anyway. Fuck with Griselda heavy. Benny the Butcher and Conway specifically. Burden of Proof was a dope ass album. I fucked with that. Royce the 5'9's last two albums have been crazy as fuck to me. I like Jay Electronica's album, the one with Jay-Z and the one that leaked. Took my son to see YB and Cordae. That was amazing for my son. He really loved that. I fuck with Cordae a lot. It's one of the newer MCs that actually like talks about dope shit. And just has like a good head on his shoulders. Man, that's really about it for this episode. That's all I got written down. It's a pretty short episode. I wasn't planning on doing anything special. I did want to shout out everybody for watching the podcast again. I appreciate that. Your input is greatly appreciated. Tell me if I'm mumbling. Like, subscribe, share. Sorry, I got another text message. It's my fiance too. Next time she messages me, I'm gonna call her and make her get on the line. But yeah, that was episode 5. Thanks for checking it out. Where the rubber meets the road. I am Mike C. Thanks again. That was some dope shit. About to turn on some mood music. Some more unreleased shit. Oh wait, no. What I played today wasn't unreleased. It was just old.
I remember being the man at 19. Matt put me on for years before I did my thing. I never cared for coffee, but I had to get cream. Cash ruled everything, and it haunted my dreams. I was trying to get it, my palms was itching. I made hasty decisions because my skewed vision used material gains to stun on those who came up with us. We always said we need to change, so buy tools, they won't equip us. We easily find tools, slide a few blocks and kill our niggas, but we never claim them, cause they didn't grow up with us, and they'll never have to chain us, cause we're slave to our addictions. Now my people are my enemies. If I get too ambitious, still they love us on the TV screen, but never struggle with us. We're the best for entertainment, bro. Fuck these motion pictures, you can't act like you love us and always go against us. Hip-hop's a covenant to my people, I do this in remembrance. I remember times I was going out of my mind, reckless with ambition on the grind. I remember times,
Cause it happened all the time.
Man, I remember times I was going out of my mind, reckless with ambition on the grind. I remember times, it happened all the time, it happened all the time.
I remember times, but really I was blind, too busy focused on the grind. tell me how do you confine? Militant type of mind, take a walk inside. Off grid, how I move, GPS can't find. Moving like a mind, trapped in my own design. Everybody want a slice, I'm the nigga with the pies. Really traumatized, I've been there, I've been through it. Really took a loss as a lesson, kept it moving. Gon' test you as a man and you can't be stupid. Swallow your pride, really no time to chew it. Mom Taylor suited, not too worried about what you did. Put a few on and it's sad cause they blew it. They ain't working hard but wanna live too rich. Talking big money but ain't even got 2 cents. I built this from the ground up, even drew the blueprint. Can't leave no clues, paper trail or shoe print.
Times I was going out of my mind, reckless with ambition on the grind. I remember times, cause it happened all the time, Man, I remember times I was going out of my mind, reckless with ambition on the grind. I remember times, shit, it happened all the time, cause it happened all the time.
Yeah, and I guess I'm up next. My show is on the gram, you can watch how I flex. Had a little something in, now I sacrifice for less. My niggas keep calling me like show 'em you the best. For niggas shoot a text, I left 'em on red. My nigga is a store, you can come and get your bread. Yeah, my feeling gon' be rich, it don't matter if I'm dead. Squad goes, Dutchy Mike, Mad D-Lo. The bank just dropped, give me my CeeLo. This the first time I grew my hair out. R.I.P. Ashley, a young nigga doing this dance and I can hear her laughing. R.I.P. cause in LaVille I still don't know what happened. I'm out in LA like you to follow
I
my
was going
passion.
out of my mind, reckless with ambition on the grind. I remember times, cause it happened all the time, Man, I remember times I was going out of my mind, reckless with ambition on the grind. I remember times, shit, it happened all the time, cause it happened all the time.
Episode 5, Peace and Love. That was All the Time, produced by D-Lo the Doctor, featuring Mab Casey and Dutch Young.